podcast.
Blog Talk Radio.
A sunset, like any great melting, heats a vibrant fire that blends wounded parts together in a magic show that transforms, reminds you of a past where the sunrise woke your senses with rays and flares. You realize in between is a powerful social theater production that sent you through a powerful roller coaster journey, packed with friends, family, and strangers not so strange anymore. There, knowing, soon comes the answers from above, an open sky of wisdom of those who came before, those that cheered you on from the future, a moon that lights your eyes, knowing a rock is near by keeping you company. Then a falling star, a dream worth claiming, appreciating and making your own. Like anything, it's gone that fast, but you know you got it, and the celebration just might be a slumber away. Maybe, just maybe, the people dancing in your mind aren't that far away.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Speaking Poorly radio show. I'm your host, Anthony Potter. I want to start off by giving a shout out to the 420 Social Club, giving people a safe place to medicate. Unholy Ink Tattoo, offering tattoos 24 hours a day at your convenience, and a good price for your budget, along with La Indita, family-owned restaurant, providing quality food and a space for people together for over 30 years. Today, our guest is Phoenix Murrow. He'll be talking about his 9 years of living on the street in the desert and elsewhere. Phoenix, are you there with us?
Hello?
Hey, Phoenix, how are you doing?
Hey, Anthony. What's going on? I'm doing all right.
Oh, not much. Just here live at the 420 Social Club, hanging out. One of the people got their card today. How you been?
I've been doing all right. Living each day, meeting new people, making new friends.
And so, how long have you been off the streets now?
I've been off the streets for about 2 months now.
And when you got off the streets, how many agencies were involved, and what did you get as part of that deal?
Just one. I go through Hope Inc. There wasn't really much to the whole deal of how I got off the streets. It's just they gave me it took them a couple months to get things figured out and trying to find a place for me to stay, which was great. I'm very grateful for that. But I didn't have much at all to go on. The only thing I had were a little bit of clothes and some paperwork, very important, like my birth certificate and all that.
Mhm.
But right now there's really not much going on there.
So you got an apartment. Did you get furniture? Did you get toiletries? Did you get cookware? Did you get a complimentary food box to get you started?
Actually, no, I didn't, because they have this thing where they forgot to throw in when I was signing the lease that, paperwork to get assistance, for food boxes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But since I wasn't in their system, I practically had to sleep on the floor for a little while. I've pretty much everything that I have now, I've had to scrummage up here and there within a certain period of time. I found a clean mattress that somebody had thrown out into the alley. I mean, it was clean. It looked brand new. And I'm like, well, since these people aren't going to help me with, something that I can't really afford on my own because of my low income, I'm like, you know what? This is a decent bed. I'm going to take it, so that way I don't just sleep on the hard concrete floor anymore. It's not really much of an... Huh?
So when we're talking about getting people off the streets, using housing first to get them indoors, get them an apartment so that we offer them a hand up, a place to sleep, a place to clean, a place to cook, a place where they can get it in a good space so that they can start being successful again. There's probably discussions that we got to have on things that a person needs when moving in to make them successful, like maybe toilet paper or a pot to cook with, so that you get the full function of the apartment.
Well, it all depends on what agencies you're going through. Hope, Cope, La Frontera. They're all pretty much the same to me. But any advice I'd give is to, speak out and make sure, ask these people, is there any way possible that you can help me out, just a little to get me started? And, all I do is say, hey, do you guys do any assistance, like help with, first move-in material, like toiletry and stuff like that you were talking about earlier?
And so let's go back a little. You were on the streets for 9 years, correct?
Yes.
Was that fully on the streets, or was that off and on?
It was kind of off and on. I'd meet some strange people, and, well, not strange, but strangers, and some of them would give me a place to stay, and, they wanted to help me out until I can get on my own feet. Every day I'd wake up and all I do all day is running around trying to find a job, doing online applications since most places don't do the paper applications anymore. But I never had any luck. I've applied to the same places every day, one after the other, over and over again. So it's difficult for me to find a job, even at this moment right now. But staying with those people that gave me gave me a roof over my head, food in my stomach, they didn't want to, but they had no choice but to, say, hey, you got to go, And I completely understand, their situations. And I just mostly had to do what I had to do to survive. But I was mostly on the street for those 9 years. My dad had kicked me out of the house at the age of 17 under the assumption that I was a homosexual.
That's horrible, because the whole thing is, according to the rights under the government, that's something that doesn't matter.
Right.
And we're talking about human life. We're talking about people's feelings, people's emotion, and
right.
That brings up a big thing. When it comes to the streets, was there a bully culture? Was there times where you were taken advantage of? Was there times that you were mistreated? And was it hard finding a safe place?
Yes, it was, actually. most of the people that let me stay, they were either instead of using the money for, important things like food or something for their kids if they had kids, and all they would do is waste it on drugs or that K2 spice stuff. That and, after a while, spending like a couple weeks with them, things would start to turn out, different. They would change some things around. They would up my rent, each month the rent got higher to the point where I couldn't afford it, I was only at the time I was only making like 600 and something at the time on SSI. I've had people, discriminate me,
Mhm.
I've been discriminated, and I think honestly the truth is, I've let a lot of people walk all over me because of my kindness. I mean, I've seen so much things go on the streets, things that no kid at that age until now should have to experience. I mean, I've been shot at through a drive-by. I've had people try to kill me in my sleep while I'm sleeping outside. I've had a lot of things taken from me. Even when I was on the street, I'd wake up one day and all my stuff is gone. So I would have to start over and build everything back up one at a time.
And so, did you? How many cities did you travel around from? Are you there with me? It seems that we've had a disconnection. I'm not sure what's going on. It seems we've got disconnected. I'm not sure what's going on. Phoenix, if you can, call back. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and go to callers. All right, if anybody wants to call in while Phoenix either tries to get back with us or something happens, and please call 646-668-8871. Again, today we're talking with Phoenix Murrow, Homeless in the Desert, Episode 5, Season 1, and talking about life on the streets, what it was like, how he got off, and things that he saw that were missing but would help people, the comparison of life in the desert and compared to other places. He's been talking about all the stuff he goes through and different stuff where we had a few issues and we're looking to reconnect. If anybody would like to call in, it's 646-668-8871. Phoenix, are you there?
Oh.
All right, welcome back. Was just giving some good. So we were talking about how you had been mistreated and how you faced a lot of things with people taking advantage and doing a lot of that. And what do you think could be done to start a campaign so that people aren't put in that same position?
Well, I know there are places out there that have programs that you could go through. As long as you're willing to push yourself through that situation to do better and make sure that you don't end up the same way. is to, like, go through with it and, you know, go day by day. Honestly, the easiest way I think would be to start the campaign is, you know, raise an awareness, you know, about the dangers of the streets. You know, things you got to look out for are, you know, people are out there on the street, other people out there on the streets that are, you know, not wanting to better themselves, coming around always smelling like booze or high on some kind of, you know, drug that, I believe that, I honestly don't know.
Kind of where everything gets started is we have a situation that we need to take care of. We're not sure what to do. We know what we've been through, and sometimes it's just connecting with other people and speaking, and then if you do that in safe place, something gets started. And part of what I've been talking to Brian King about over in Charleston, South Carolina, who's part of homelessnewsnow.com, helping me with that, is what he's going to be doing, and a few others across the country are going to be doing, is the different steps and the different stuff that goes on with them. They're going to get a paper and a marker and put those different things on the steps of the Capitol or on the steps of a courthouse. What do you think about doing something like that?
I actually think it's a good idea, Anthony. Very good idea, you know. We got to get a lot of people who feel the same way, you know, as many people as we can to, like, get the word out. But, yeah, that whole idea with what your friend is doing there in Carolina is actually a good thing. You know, we need stuff like that, you know, more things like that in this world, you know, in every town or city.
And so, go ahead.
No.
All right, and what was it like as far as keeping up with hygiene, getting food, getting water, having a place to use the restroom?
Well, with my experience with that is, you know, there's always public places that allow you to use the restroom. As far as hygiene, you know, you can go to any local shelter and, you know, they'll some hygiene supplies. They even have a place, I forgot what it was called, but right there on 3rd and 22nd by downtown.
Casa Maria?
Yes, that. They have they need more places like that, I think. You know, if you have the opportunity to, you know, if you go to a shelter and you actually have the opportunity to have a place to sleep, you know, the best thing to do is to take it. And my experience on the streets, I've noticed how a lot of the homeless people would, you know, like, distance themselves from that kind of resource, because they don't. Some just don't really want to go by the rules or the guidelines. But I don't know how they would do it, but I think that they can do something different, make things easier.
So maybe build a conversation.
Yeah, that's something that most of these places are lagging on is communication. They don't take the time to sit down and talk to you or even ask you, how was your day? How are you doing? Nothing like that. It's just like, okay, here's a blanket, here's a mat, or here's a couple blankets to make a pallet. Here's a little bit of food. There you go. Anytime I would ask for help, or if I was having issues with another homeless person, and I'm, and that person's constantly antagonizing me, they're like, oh, either we don't have time, or they'll just like, what do you want me to do about it?
And go ahead.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
That happens. Don't worry about it. You definitely bring up a lot of points, and you really bring up a lot about how a big part of getting out of that situation is working with the resources offer and taking that leap of faith that it's going to help. Where did you learn to have that perspective?
It just came to me naturally, honestly. I've been on my own since I was 17. The best advice I can give to others that are out there right now, with hardly anything or, a safe place to lay their heads. If that opportunity presents itself and someone's actually offering them help, I'm not saying all of them would, but, some just does not want to, doesn't want to go through those steps because of so many rules and regulations, that they don't want to abide by. But for those who are actually seeking help, there's a place out there somewhere that can, that you can benefit from. Like my first 8 years on the streets, I was living in the state of Illinois, where I'm from. I was born in a small town called Lincoln, Illinois. We didn't have resources like that around there. Only shelters and all the shelters that I've been to in Illinois. There's got to be a raffle. Instead of the shelters that they had weren't very big. Each shelter could fit up to about maybe 25, 30 people. I've noticed in some of the shelters here in Tucson, they can hold up to like 45, 50 people. But like I was saying, there weren't that many resources where I'm from, and it was really rough in some of the neighborhoods I had to sleep outside in. Like I was saying earlier, I've been shot at before in drive-bys, and even though I might have not been the person that they were targeting, they were still letting them fly.
Mhm.
The way I survived is, I didn't really talk to anybody much. I didn't, get myself involved with anything, that might get me into trouble or possibly worse, could endanger my life. Each day I would pray to God, that I would find something that would benefit me. And it took me about 8 years, and then one day I just woke up and something told me Tucson, Arizona, something was there for me. So when I got paid and I got my money, I bought Greyhound tickets, first trip from there all the way to here. And, at first it was a little rough. It wasn't easy. I didn't know anybody here. My first night in Tucson, I had to sleep under a bridge. I woke up the next morning and all my stuff was gone, missing, and most important that was in my bag was my birth certificate and Social Security card and my state ID. All of it was taken. All I had were the clothes on my back, and I had to spend a couple weeks trying to build all those clothes that I had. I had to get them all back. It wasn't that easy.
How easy is it when you come from another state, you come to Arizona where you're required to have 2 IDs to get an ID, and not having money? How did that go? And tell us a little bit about the struggle there.
Okay. The real struggle was getting my birth certificate, because it was kind of hard for me to actually talk with my mom about it, because me and my mom, we never...
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
It
ahead.
took me about 2.5 months to get my mom to send me my birth certificate. And, while I'm waiting for that, I'm literally going in circles, going on wild goose chases because people keep sending me to the wrong place. Or they'll be like, oh, it's this way, and end up sending me a different direction to where I really need to be. And that took about another 3 months to finally get everything straightened out. I finally had my birth certificate. I was finally able to go up to the Social Security office, because the main thing that I made sure that I definitely wouldn't lose was my credit card, which I get my Social Security income on. I always kept that on me and always in my pocket. So I'm kind of thankful that, they didn't get that my first night here in Tucson. So that was like a second ID for me, along with my birth certificate. And I didn't know the place very well, so I'm constantly asking, someone, which way is the Social Security office? And they'll be like, oh, it's on such and such near this place. And I'm literally walking like 8 miles back and forth in circles all day. And then finally, it was getting to the point where I was getting really depressed. The pressure of not being able to get what I need to get me by, and people just not, wanting to really help me. It led me to a serious depression, worse than what it already was. And, I didn't want to, but I ended up in the hospital for a little while, for about a couple weeks. And after the first few days, I was kind of glad I went, because the doctors there at the hospital were actually willing to help, and they actually gave me some resources that I needed.
And was this in the summer? Was it in the winter? What was the weather like when you're walking all these miles and you're trying to find a place and you're not sure really which way to go?
Well, I had moved here to Tucson. The day I got here to Tucson was April 4th or the 5th of last year. And when I first got here, it was like in the middle of the evening. The sun was just setting, had a nice cool breeze. It felt good, as soon as I stepped off the Greyhound. Well, all right, could you repeat the question again so I can get to the point?
When you're walking around trying to go to the Social Security office, trying to get your birth certificate, trying to find resources without really having a map to tell you where to go.
Safeway introduces our exclusive new signature family of brands. We know you take pride in the way you care for your family. That's why throughout the store you'll find thousands of products, from coffee to ice cream, soup to cereal, fresh produce to fried chicken, all with the quality you expect at a budget-friendly price. Best of all, we proudly stand behind our signature brands with a 100% money-back guarantee. Safeway signature brands. Quality you can trust. Guaranteed.
For all the things that make a supermarket just better, look no further than your neighborhood Albertsons. You'll find fresher meats, fresher produce, and lower everyday prices on family favorites. Stop by the meat department and pick up a family pack of bone-in pork loin chops or boneless, skinless chicken breasts from the butcher block. Your choice, just $1.77 a pound. And get new crop Arizona-grown jumbo cantaloupe, only 87 cents each. Fresher meats, sweeter produce, lower prices. Albertsons. It's just better.
A sunset, like any great melting, heats a vibrant fire that blends wounded parts together in a magic show that transforms, reminds you of a past where the sunrise woke your senses with rays and flares. You realize In Between is a powerful social theater production that sent you through a powerful roller coaster journey, packed with friends, family, and strangers not so strange anymore. There, knowing, soon comes the answers from above, an open sky of wisdom of those who came before, those that cheered you on from the future, a moon that lights your eyes, knowing a rock is near by keeping you company. Then a falling star, a dream worth claiming, appreciating and making your own. Like anything, it's gone that fast, but you know you got it, and the celebration just might be a slumber away. Maybe, just maybe, the people dancing in your mind aren't that far away.